Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of CanalTown here in City Skylines, where today we're going to implement the last industry that we do not have within CanalTown, and that is the oil industry. We've got the farming, the forestry, we even have the oil and the fishing, but we don't have the ore, yeah. I have the farming, the forestry, the ore, the fishing. I don't have the oil, which is the last one I need to be able to then place down all the unique factories to truly make the big cash money moolah in CanalTown right now. And guys, we're going to get it ready to rock and a roll. So if you are enjoying the series so far, make sure you smash that like button down below. We did play around with the airport last episode, so we're going to see how that's now going on. I have a feeling not too great. I'm starting to get this feeling right now that the airport DLCs is worthless. After how many years? But guys, if you are new around here, make sure you do subscribe so you get notified when the next episode does come out. But anyway, we are back. So what we did last episode is we played around with the airport. Now, it does do what it's intended to do, what I set it up to do. But the problem is, right, we don't get to choose what stand gets used more than the other. Now, the logic in me would have said it would have been these stands here because they're the shortest ones to from the actual landing to the runway to unloading. But then these are the shortest ones to then leave the region. So it kind of seems to prioritize the shorter leaving to the region than the closest to the landing, which you kind of get this backlog. Now, it would be nice, and they're not going to change it. And I'm hoping that this is updated in City Skylines 2. It would be nice if we can kind of limit, you know guys, limit how many aircraft can land at a certain, just tell me how many aircraft want to land at my airport. 20. Okay, sweet. So I put 4 here, 4 there, 4 there, 4 there, and then I'm going to divide the rest elsewhere. You know what I mean? I can choose how many want to come in. But no. So you're going to get this huge backlog no matter what happens, and I'm going to assume this has got 18 flights. 6, 5, 1, 3, 1, 0, 0. I give up with airports, guys. I give up with the airport DLC. It is stressing your boy out. Also, your boy Snowy gave me some really good insight into how you can utilize a dam with a slipway. So I've created loads of dams in the past, and they run absolutely amazing. This is the first time I created one with this little slipway here, because I wanted to replicate the one over here. One thing I didn't account for was the water flowing through the slipway and how it does affect the actual dam. Now, I can't tell if this dam's doing very well because we can't select it. It was part of the map. I don't know why. But this dam here works perfectly. It does produce power. Now, I did the exact same thing, but what I didn't kind of account for is how low my slipway is. If my slipway is too low, then all the water seeps down here throughout, and my dam will never reach the optimal level to produce power. So it quite often comes on, then comes off. Just as it just about gets to the level where it produces 16 megawatts, so much water's going down the slipway, it slightly reduces the water level. So what I'm going to have to do, and this is all down to your boy Snowy right now, is kind of play around with the levels of the slipway. And we've got to find out where the appropriate kind of level is. If I bring it to the height of about there, we've got to find the appropriate levels where we can fill the dam up and only use the slipway if the dam gets too filled, not let the water flow out and then hope it then reaches. Because my level right now for the dam is higher than the slipway level, which means I lose all my water. So I've just raised that for now. We'll see how it goes. There's still a little bit more fine-tuning to get done, but this is one thing I didn't account for because I've never built a dam with a slipway. So I've raised it a little bit, which does mean less water will flow out, but it also raises the minimal level before water can seep out. And then we'll keep adjusting it as time goes on, and we'll see if we can kind of backlog this and get this going. But anyway, forget all this jibber jabber because your boy has an oil industry to build. Now, we have the farming over here. We have the forestry over here. Fishing, little one is just around here right now. And we have the ore over there. Now, I want to build over here right now because we've got a really, really good highway connection for it, which is perfect, close to some import-exports, and we've got a beautiful train line running through. This is where I want to build the oil industry. We're going to build a road coming off this. We'll have a train line connected to that. So let's at least get the infrastructure set up today. So let me check the topography right now. So ideally, as much close running to the actual river itself before we start going up the hill. So that's kind of interesting to find out. So what we'll do then, what type of road is this? Do I change it for like a road with trees or something like that? Something nice? I'm feeling a little bit fancy. I like the idea of maybe this large avenue of grass, but I also do like the ones with the trees in the middle. I mean, the pollution's probably going to kill them anyway. But your boy can only dream. Your boy can only dream. So... I'm gonna... Do I actually want to bring it that close? Let me delete this. Let me delete that. And we'll push it by 20 just to push us back a little bit more. We'll do a nice little 10 by 10 bend. We'll pump this down, and I reckon we pump it down to about there. Again, to give us a lot more space. And I'm going to do a nice little standard 10 by 10 going out this way. So there's nothing too crazy or fancy going on. There we go. It's a nice little order. What's the word? Order and fashion. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. Nice orderly queue. Orderly. Do you know what? I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. I've lost my train of thought. But it's nice and simple. It's very, very planned. Very, very organized. Which is going to give us great accessibility to all of these areas. So, first things first. Then we're going to use all this flat land here is where we're going to pump all the oil out. So my rural road, which we'll use, or yeah, I'm going to go rural instead of dirt. And we'll kind of... How is this elevated? Oh, I just realised this whole thing's slightly elevated. That's actually kind of cool that it is elevated. But obviously, I don't want it to be elevated right now. So if I just come off here right now, and I'll go to there. So, and then we'll kind of create a 30 and down. A 30... and then down. So the highway does run diagonal. We're going to get rid of these roads anyway. This is where we're going to set up like a bunch of oil kind of stuff set up. So we'll then do that going back this way. That one's not actually going to fit in perfectly. Now thinking about it, let me delete these. Right, and we'll pick up, we'll go from the nodes. So we'll go from this node back by there. And we'll do another node skip here. We'll do another node skip here. Like that. So we got 3 there. 1 on the bend. Which we kind of leave that. And then the next one. So leave that and then this one. Which will go for a 30 just there. And then we'll go just here to here. So we will connect those to the road momentarily. But all this there is where our oil wells and digging up is going to be taking place. Nice and simple standard. We'll do roads that will connect them every so often, just to make it flow a little bit better and whatnot. But also we'll kind of create our little connecting buildings coming off it as well. So coming off this, because we've done the 10 there, we'll come off this as well. There. We'll only do a couple where it does connect. I won't do all of them, because I'm trying to keep the traffic flowing free. And I could do one here as well. Do you reckon that would be a good idea? If I run it to there to... Is that the... Yeah, there we go. The 10 by 10 there. So just these connections that we're going to be playing with. And if I run that down to there. If I run this into here. I'm just kind of planning out my infrastructure. Is the best way to put it. So that's where you're going to have the connections where it comes to the road. Everything else is just a standard connection. Just so we can have the space of the traffic coming through. So we kind of have to break our industries down into 3 areas. The... kind of buildings that produce the raw material, which will be our oil wells here. The buildings that process the raw material into a more valuable product, which for the oil industry will be plastics and petroleum. And also an area for storage. You could break it down into 4 if you want to include the import exports, but you place them within the individual areas is what you do. So that's kind of how we need to look at it. So let's get this all now connected. Do you know what? It's creating that little bridge. Which I don't know whether that's a good idea to kind of allow it to run a train line, but then again, the train line's elevated, so it will be sticking up. So we won't do that. I think it'd look a little bit funky then, wouldn't it? It really would. So, keeping this all down. I think it's because when I built the road, I slightly had it elevated. I don't know. But it is what it is. No dramas, mate. No dramas. So that straight into there. Beautiful. So, hopefully there's not too much traffic, but we can, you know, create some systems to kind of counteract it. Okay, so this should work out fairly well then. So they're the buildings there. Well, how big are my production buildings for the oil industry? Let me just double check right now before we move on forward. So this is the plant for the petroleum, oil refining. Okay, so that one is, okay, that big. That one is, okay, do you know what? They're not actually that big. So I will place them maybe around here or leading up to there. Would probably be a better idea. So let's extend this road a little bit further down. And we will end with a train line around this area as well. So back to the rural road, which, let me just double check. So they come this way. Yeah, okay. So I'm just double checking where I can place down the one-way road for the train traffic. So if I put it around this way, I need to have it there. The land is going to slowly go up on that way, so I can't have it going this way. But I suppose it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. So if I have it, the one-way road just here to begin with, alright, I'll bring it down a little bit. I'm not going to be too shy about this. We'll do a 10 by 10, a 10 by 10. Bringing this to about there. We'll do a 10 by 10. And if I just then bring this to here. Oh, hold on. I've done it the wrong way around. Because the way the road is. There we go. And then what we'll use then is the little bend there. So it kind of slips down, skedoodles round and goes back on. And it's on the correct side of the road is what we're trying to make it do. So for the cargo then, and I don't know, I'm probably going to have 2 of these in here. I don't know. I'll just kind of keep it to the one. But if I look at it from this angle, right, it comes in from the container side. That's how they drive in. So it comes in from the container side. So if they're driving this way, it ain't going to work. If they're driving that way, it will only work if it's on this side. Which that's perfectly fine. Or if I placed it on this side, which again is perfectly fine. But how much of the land does it dig into? Because I know we're going slightly uphill, which we'll get away with that, which should be perfect. Keeping that up, elevated straight over, connecting to a V there. It's the most simplest of connections you could ever wish for. It's unreal how simple that connection is going to be. But I feel like we might need a second one in as well. So again, I got to remember it comes from the crate side, so maybe having one over here. So I know this is going uphill, but I'm going to create a kind of a ledged platform. And I've got to be careful about how we're also doing this as well. So if I bring it straight, yeah, I'm going to bring it straight down. And then if I went bam, bam. If we do a 5 by 5, 5 by 5. I mean, I could have ran it straight down to there. So I don't know why I'm doing this whole wiggle system. Wait, what is that space? That is not what I'm expecting. I was expecting that to be like a 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 by 10, but it's not. What is it? It is a 23. So something's going to be slightly off of this. So 23, if I do it 11 by an 11. Actually, if I do 11 by 12, then 11 by a 12, it will kind of feel like it all works together. Well, it should do anyway. Look at that. You won't even know that we're slightly off on the squiff there. But that's good then, because that will set me up to do what I need it to do. The slope is too steep, but this is where we're going to create our little bit of a level right now. So if I, on the brush size, if I take it from the middle and then flatten all this out. There we go. We're going to take a nice big chunk out. And then what we'll do is we'll select you. Holy moly, it is quite big, isn't it? Right, if I select you. No, sorry. If I select you. Yeah, you, sorry. Same object height as that. We'll rejig this this terrain right now because it's a little bit too big for my liking. There to there is bam like that. There to the round. Pretty much all the same. Right, just sort the rest of these out. There to there. Not much of a change there, but there to there is probably a big difference as well. Okay, so back to business. Which is going to make this a whole lot lower. But that's okay. Smoothing all this up real quick. Right, and for this, the trick is to first smooth them from the top. First smooth them from the top. And I might have to go for a slightly larger brush size to smooth them from the top. Okay, maybe a bit too big. Smooth them from the top, and then we slowly come down to the bottom. And then if I kind of carve this around, so we kind of go big there and then big down this way. You don't really notice it then too much, and it just kind of complements the area. So with that said, smoothing that as well there, I can then place my train station. Let's place it just here, and we'll just kind of finish off this terrain real quick. So again, smoothing from the top before we come down to the bottom. And I might slightly raise it. It won't do as much beneficial stuff. But I suppose it all helps, right? Right, get right into it. Get right into that. There we go. There we go. Nice. A little bit of detail. A little bit of detail. So that will connect to a V here. They go straight down there to connect to a V just there. So that's how we set them all up. Okay, it shouldn't be too difficult. Shouldn't be too difficult. So with that said then, I was going to place like a bunch of production buildings over there, which I probably still will. But I think the way to go about doing this right now is to also place down a bunch of buildings this way to produce the guts. So what that length is a 30. So bringing that up to there, which will connect into here. So then run these up. And I suppose there's always a connection just here, isn't there? So that's a 23. So if I go by 13 and then just kind of go for a bend on this as a 10 by 10. Connect that in, connect it into there. I want to end it like that. So we're creating some flow throughs. Places will be connected and all set up. It should be pretty good. Should be pretty good. It's a pretty much of a standardized area. There's nothing too, you know, out there for all of this. To be honest with you, there's nothing too out there. So I reckon we do utilize some dirt roads. So I could start with a 10, a 10, a 10, and a 10. And if I mimic this to do the exact same thing, we get the spaces all set up. And this becomes our beautiful little oil well area. So you could go a little bit further as well, but I'm not going to go too crazy. I've got so many of this set up right now. That will be okay. So these, I could go... Oh, hang on, I didn't do this side, did I? So these here, pretty much following the same kind of logic. And again, you could go further on these, but I'm going to keep it nice and simple. nice and simple. So, bam. Bam. Well, bam. Bam. Alright, there we go. Nice, standard, simple, mate. No dramas. No dramas. Now, normally I'll get the train line in like towards the end, but I feel like it might be quite important to get it in now. So what is the height of here? That is set to a 10. And here is... Okay, how far can I take it there? Is that not set to... Oh, it's down, isn't it? Okay, elevate that as a 10. So we're going to run down here. Then we're going to try and keep it as a straight line. It doesn't do us too much damage to any of the oil well systems. And that's going to be quite nice as to tear through. So we're a little bit far out at the moment still. So if I go to about here, where can I get my 21 in? Okay, maybe we'll be a little bit too close. A 3, 20, 21. 21, and then zooming straight in, we've got to put a little bit of a bend on it to get those connections. There we go. So that all works then. Obviously it's not connected just yet. We've got to then raise this up to +10. And we'll do it by the 12. That's always the marker you kind of go with. So for those, I get a lot of people asking, Nick, why do you do 21? Well, it's just the old simple trick that everyone does. Because a train length is 21. So if you make your connection 21 by 21, they'll never... It's the easiest way to put like a giveaway system. Or kind of a standardized weighting system, like a traffic light system for the trains. Because a train length is 21. So it just kind of makes a little bit of sense. Sometimes adjusting this too much, you can kind of lose your 21 length. But the reason I do it so wide is so I can kind of pull it in slightly, create a little bit of a natural curve bend, so it doesn't reduce the train speed by too much. And as simple as that is, we have a connection in. Just got to sort this one out. And also, when you do any elevation changes, well, it's always best to do it on the length of a 12. Because you get a better gradient without having to kind of adjust it too much. But I always adjust it anyway. So we'll go for that full length. Shabam. This one's a little bit more difficult because we're kind of elevating over the road. But I could maybe do it to this one. But you can see what I mean. It kind of digs into the road too much. So for this, you kind of have to suck it up a little bit and just go a little bit higher. And that's it. You ain't really got to do much else. Now, the only problem is with this is it's not connected to the other train line. Because we have them split. One goes to the right, one goes to the left of the exports. And then they kind of, as they go up, as you can see, one goes to the right, which connects to over this area. One goes straight up, which is a lot more connections. They are connected. You can go down here, do this loop there to go back up to here, down here, back down to in. So it's not a problem. But, you know, it's just a quicker route to go in that one direction. So, waterworks. Oh, look how perfect that is there. That one already set up. Right, let's get this rocking and rolling. Alright, we'll cover our import-export routes first there. Get ourselves all smack bang covered up. There we go. There we go. Just cover all the areas because you never know where I'm going to build. It's better to be safe than sorry. Now, we have no power over here. I wonder if the dam has now produced anything. So, we've definitely changed how much water now flows down because you can start to see the edges slightly. So, it just shows you there is less water coming down the slipway, which means now we've got a consistent flow of power. Look at that. That's beautiful. So, you could argue, Seniac, raise this up a little bit more. So, the only issue I have with this is you kind of lose the aesthetics. You lose the aesthetics in a sense of, I mean, you can get it to be perfect. It's like in a perfect world, I want this to always be flowing and that one to be always producing power. You can do that. It's not a problem. But what I mean is I want this to be filled to the brim. Now, that is not going to happen. You'll get a certain level of water consistently flowing. And what would also be a good idea as well is to kind of set out the angles on this. I know I'm meant to be building an oil industry right now, guys, but this is quite fun. So from there, and we'll take it down to here. I can play around now with the angles a bit more. So it's still quite a harsh drop, but a fun drop. There we go, so they kind of match. And we have to sort out the key walls as well. But there we go, boys. So right now we're producing 480 watts, which we do need to put onto our main power, kind of supply source. Which the closest way to pull it on will be from over here. So if I just run this up to there, these do connect, don't they? Yeah. Alright, the snap is here. We'll run this up like this. And then straight over. So that is then connected to... Is that connected to the main grid? It is, via this connection. Yeah. So that goes into the main grid. So we're now utilizing the power from our brand new dam up to the 500. So every slight adjustment I raise this means less water pumps out, more water goes through here. But I want to keep the aesthetics. I don't want to put this to its maximum of 1,600. I still want the aesthetics of the overspill. But yeah, not bad. Right, anyway, we need to provide power to over here. So I think the logical thing at the moment would be wind turbines. He says that as he's just built a freaking new dam to power all of this. It's just I don't have anything at the minute bringing the power over. So if I just start here. Well, if I put that there and then literally run this to there, straight across. Okay, that's where we're going to get our power from to begin with. Right, so, oil industry. Let's get some wells pumping in then. So each one will go along and we'll start adding more. Oh, hang on, it's not even an industrial area. I got to put that in the main building first, don't I? I forgot about the main building. Right, we'll have the main building just here. Okay, nice little spot. I haven't even painted down the oil area yet either. So we got to get that in momentarily. So industrial area, make this nice and big. There we go. Just kind of cover this whole area. La-di-da-di-da. And we'll start with this then. So every section we move on to will make it even bigger and better. So we'll do a load of them. Bam, bam, bam. That might be way too many. It might be way too many. This could be a bad idea. This honestly could be a bad idea. Oh, no. Okay, right. I'm going to roll with it anyway, see what happens. So let's just do all of these first. Alright, this one's going to have two lots of the large ones. This could be way too many oil wells. Right, so there. Then we move on to these ones, which we've got 1, 2, 3. Bam. Bam. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be way too many. But it does mean a lot of exports. Worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Okay, should I just leave it for that for now and just see what happens? Probably that's probably the best idea. Okay, so that they would almost be connected via power. Let's just get these guys connected first. So straight up to there. Running this straight down. We get a connection just here running through. And that will just kind of, for now, get all those connected. We do need to get some storage buildings in, but the problem is with the storage buildings, as soon as I put storage buildings in, they have a tendency to then import like a gazillion liters of oil and place them in the storage. I might have to kind of configure some one-way systems for the storage. So I might go up here and raise that down. Right, this will be interesting. So if I go for some storage then. So a crude oil tank, we'll go with that. Oh, it's actually too big. There we go. If I put one there and then one there. It's a one-way system, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Right, connecting you via the power. I don't know if it's actually going to be enough storage as well. I'm not too sure. We'll bring the power down here as a connection. And obviously get these imports, exports set up with power connections. Alright, probably better to do it like this. Right, very, very basic oil industry setup right now. I know we're not producing any oil whatsoever because we don't have the natural resource down at the minute. So let's get this added in. There we go. Lots of oil, mates. So that will then solve their issue. And then we'll just give it a little bit of a waiting time right now. We'll have a little fast forward. Let it skadoodle through. A little bit of a wait time. Now, we don't have the ability to have the workers come over here at the moment. So they're just going to have to drive if anybody wants to work here at this minute in time. But we'll see what happens. It could be too many oil drills. Who knows? Hopefully they don't import like crazy. And we don't have anything at the minute that can create the product. So I won't do that just yet. We'll just see how this kind of whole industry now builds itself up. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So give it some time. See what happens. So yeah, so this dam then, what's it up to right now then? It's in the 500s. We can then raise this a little bit more. I'm having great fun right now raising it. Okay, I might be slightly raising these a little bit too much. So if I don't raise them, and maybe I just stick to raising these humps here. That'd be one glorious way to do it, wouldn't it? Yeah. Right, I think I don't really want to do too much more now. Because that is quite a decent amount of power now being produced. So I'll be kind of happy with that. We're now starting to have our own production, which they should start filling all of this. They'll export some stuff as well. But I've set up the one-way roads, so I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Depends on how busy it all does become. That's the true question. That's the true question. So they're using all of these, well, this train station here. They won't use this one until I build up around here a bit more for the actual the production buildings. Might add some additional road networks in. Let's kind of make this area a little bit more inclusive. As we build all the factories. Nice little stagger there going on. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So this way we probably see this one to get used more when I start building all the buildings, like that produce the petroleum and the plastics as well. So yeah, all good. All our own production. There's no imports coming in, is there? Of lots of oil. Imports, oil products. Oh, Jesus, there's actually quite a bit. So we might start to see loads of airplanes landing. Oh, dear God. We have lots of airplanes landing. So that's the problem when you build new industry and you place down storage. They don't even care about that you're producing the good. They're just going to import it all anyway. That's just how it works. Right, if you've got no cargo on board, I'm going to delete you. Just to get rid of you. Because you're dead to me. Right, goodbye. All this aircraft right now with nothing on. So why are you even a plane then? I know you're returning to facility. I get that. I understand that. To then export more. That's another thing as well. I wish we could have like imports and exports. Like this was imports. This was exports only. It would be so much better when trying to build and set all these systems up. Oh, hang on. We got an issue over here. So these are complaining about there's not enough raw materials. We've gone through this issue before, guys. We know exactly what we need to do. But I won't worry too much just yet. But we know exactly what we need to do with that. Trains are now coming in, which is glorious. So this is looking not too shabby. Right. One last little check of the dam. We're into the mid 500s right now, which is perfect. We can push this a lot higher. All we gotta do is raise this bump. But I'll be happy with this for now. If I do need more power eventually, we'll raise the bump to make the dam produce more. But for now, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Right, what we'll do, guys, we'll leave it over here then, because we've still got a lot of work we need to do on the oil industry. To the point where it's producing the goods. Once we've done that and got that set up, then we're pretty much good to go with producing the unique products with all the unique factories. So there's me thinking this will be too many drills and stuff like that. I think it's okay at the moment. We are starting to import a little bit right now, as they're going to fill up these storage containers. But not bad. We will be ready. And hopefully we can decipher between the two stations nice and evenly, with the goods coming in and out too. So it is quite exciting. We'll solve this issue over here as well for that industry complaining. These guys over here aren't really complaining too much, but I don't think the issues hit them just yet. Time will tell, guys. Time will tell. But yeah, we're going to see this airport now get completely overloaded. You can just tell by the amount of vehicles. You can tell. It's a mixture of both. You got like oil tankers, you got quarry products, you got forestry products as right now. It's everybody all at once, all of a sudden. And the exports is pretty high. It's nearly 3,000. A lot of it is oil. So, just one of those things, guys. It's just one of those things. But we'll end it for here, guys. We'll get this oil industry all set up in the next episode. So until next time, I'll see you all soon. So, goodbye.